And if something isn't working, it's not bad to quit and it's not bad to pivot. In 5 years, you won't remember this. I failed. I've invested a significant portion of my life and I had over $50,000 in profit. It was very devastating for me. You can use money to buy happiness. What is money exactly? Basically determine the quality of the rest of your life. Don't compromise on quality whatsoever when it comes to your in my 20s. I learned certain lessons that I think could be very helpful to share. Whether you are in your 20s, you could be 30, you could be 40, there might be something for you to pick from this video. When I was in the university, I studied mechanical engineering, and one of my courses in part 2, in my 200 level, was a mathematics course. It was in the second semester. It was a 4-unit course, and 4 units was heavy when it comes to your CGPA and your GPA. Now, what happened was I took that 4-unit course and I failed. And that probably is the first time in my life I can remember failing at anything academic. Primary school, secondary school, I never, ever, ever saw anything close to F on my paper, much less having to repeat or retake a course that I spent a whole semester studying, preparing for, reading. I was not by any means a lazy student, and I was not a dull student, but this happened and it was very devastating for me. I guess the mindset I had at the back of my mind then was that failure defined me and that failure was final. I tried my best to combat the result. I went to my HOD. I went to one of my former HODs who was a very, very cordial man and had good relationships with students, being that one of his sons was actually a student in not my department, but my faculty. So he was like a father figure to us. And I went to speak to him. I said, "Sir, what can you do to help me out about this result? I don't believe this is either a correct result, or even if it is there something that can be done such that I don't have an F?" If I remember right, I think that F was maybe 35, and the next grade, E, was going to be 40. So I felt just a few marks shy of a passing grade, at least just a bajensi me. In other words, take and let me rest, let me go. And he sat me down and he explained to me that, "Look, I know this looks like the worst thing that could have ever happened to you, but trust me, in 5 years, you won't remember this." And honestly, I really only remembered because I have to do this video. The truth is, I had to do that course again. But because the failure weighed so heavily on me, I failed the course for the second time. And I had to do it a third time. What I learned in this process is that failure is not final. Failure does not define you. Another thing I could have picked from it, if I had been very conscious at the time, is that rejection sometimes could be redirection. And if something isn't working, it's not bad to quit and it's not bad to pivot. Yes, resilience is important. Yes, giving it your all is important. Not quitting at the first sign of adversity is very important, and it's one of the things I've learned in my journey. But another thing that is very, very key is that if something doesn't work for you or it isn't working for you, and you feel like there might be better uses of your time, your energy, or your talent, it is never a bad idea to quit that thing or to pivot to another thing. And the idea of pivoting is a normal, natural idea in life. If one road is blocked, if you were trying to get to your office and you were taking a route and you realize that there was a roadblock on that route, you wouldn't simply sit in your car and stare at the roadblock. You would find another route to get to your destination. So there's nothing wrong with pivoting. There's nothing wrong with admitting that something doesn't work for you. There's nothing wrong with even admitting that you have failed in a particular place, because failing at something doesn't make you a failure in your entirety. Gratitude unlocks fulfillment. And when you find yourself in a situation where you are ungrateful for the friends you have, ungrateful for the family you have, ungrateful for the unique situation that God has placed you in, you will find yourself unfulfilled. You'll find yourself beginning to think and desire things that are outside of God's will for you and outside of the plan and design that you were made for. So one thing that I would really emphasize or I would really talk to my younger self about, is that look, be grateful for where you are, be grateful for what you have achieved, what you haven't achieved, how far you've come. Think back and realize that there are many testimonies that have led up till today. And the fact that you are even alive is a testimony in and of itself. Money is a tool and it's not a goal. This affected me severely because when I started to make some money, one of the first things I did was just to hoard it. I just wanted to keep as much of it as possible. And when I made some significant profits in investments, instead of me to divest or to even realize some of my gains, I was more comfortable staring at 5 figures, staring at 6 figures in profits and not realizing my gains. I looked at something where I invested $500 in and I had over $50,000 in profit. For some reason, I just felt like, oh, this could keep growing long term, forgetting that I was in a very, very volatile market and volatile environment. So if I had considered that money is a tool, I would have done more with the profits I had realized in that period. I would have taken out more money, set up other things that were going to fulfill me in different areas of my life. So if you are young and you are making money in any area of your life, realize that you can use money to do things, to buy time, to buy happiness, not joy, happiness, and to buy health, to service your relationships, to help elevate the character of your life, to help elevate your lifestyle. Don't use money as a goal or a benchmark. Use it as a tool to generate things that fulfill you. The way to actually make money is to add value. So if you're rather focused on adding value instead of making money, you will discover that money comes easier. And what is money exactly? Money is just a codification of our energy and our time. We utilize energy over time to produce value. So money is a codification of value. It's an expression of value. And wherever you find yourself, if you can add value, more often than not, you will get reward financially. Sometimes the reward might not be direct, could be indirect. It could mean that when you focus on adding value, for example, in an organization where you have to spend time expending your energy and your skill or developing a skill in an area you never had a skill before. If it's a non-profit, for example, and you're not being paid, but you are developing a skill that you could use to start up a business much later, you see that focusing on adding value has translated to financial benefit. So I would focus on adding value instead of looking for money. Personally, I've been a musician for a long time. I've invested a significant portion of my life understanding audio, understanding music, understanding sound production. I've also committed a large portion of my time in understanding media, streaming, video recording, editing. A lot of these things are now culminating and coming together into a place where I can utilize them in other ways that benefit me. But I honed most of these skills not because I was seeking to make money, but because I was seeking to add value to myself. The last thing I would tell a young person like me who is seeking to improve the quality of their life is to choose your life partner wisely. For a young man, one of the canon events that makes any young man is a heartbreak. And I think it's an essential part of developing from boyhood to manhood. And one thing that happens with young men is that a lot of times, because we are young, we're naive, we give ourselves entirely to emotionalism instead of rational thought when it comes to picking partners. What I would say to young guys out there, pick somebody that loves you. Pick somebody that is interested and invested in you, in your well-being, in your progress. And that's how you can enjoy the rest of your life with a quality life partner. Don't compromise on quality whatsoever when it comes to your dating, when it comes to your relationships, and when it comes to your partners. Because the person that you end up with can determine the joy or the sadness, basically determine the quality of the rest of your life.